since there was such a lot of homophobia, the police targeted LGBTIQ persons under these laws, and they felt that they were at liberty to at any point stop somebody they thought might be LGBTIQ and either demand, to see their ID, their wallets, why are you carrying condoms, why are you standing at the bus stand so late at night, are you looking for sex, and then having, they kind of intimidate people, beat them up, the usual story that police used to do in the past. Police are a hell of a lot better now. They've been, sensitized. We've brought a case against them at court, and they have realized that these laws can only be used if a person is caught in the act. So basically, it's in private and in public. So even if I was making love to my girlfriend, for example, in the privacy of my own home, and somebody saw me through a window or whatever and complained to the police, they can come into my home and arrest me. Yeah. So the implication for the LGBTIQ community is that just because of these laws, we are deemed as perverts and, pedophiles and various things like that. People are at liberty to call us all kinds of names, accusing us of all kinds of indecent acts just because of this law. So the connotation of the law is that immediately, because there's a law prohibiting same-sex relationships, that it is a bad thing, that it's unnatural, and so on and so forth. In the past, it's been difficult for them because obviously people didn't want to touch them, people didn't want to give them any kind of support, people didn't want to give them legal support, and so on and so forth. But since Equal Ground has been working since 2004, and we have been challenging the law consistently and constantly, and we've been talking to the police, we've been sensitizing the public at large, we've been sensitizing the police as well. It takes a lot of, making people understand that this is a law that was brought by the British. We're still hanging on to these laws. British have decriminalized a long time ago. They even have same-sex marriage equality. Why are we then clinging on to these archaic laws? Because our society, from a very, very long time, had no issues with homosexuality. There were many documented cases of homosexual kings and queens, for example, transgenders within the court and so on, and there was no issues with that. Yeah, but the British, with their puritanical Christian values, came to Sri Lanka and forced this on us, and now we have embraced it like as though we were given a pot of gold. So we need to change that. These are not our laws. Yeah, this is not our culture to marginalize a community just because they are gay, lesbian, transgender, bisexual, whatever. So it has taken a while of, like 20 years, for example, of us advocating, and now in the last maybe 5 or 6 years, and time has flown, so maybe a little bit more than that, maybe 7 years, there have been a lot more organizations coming out and also fighting for the rights of the LGBTIQ community. So now they can't really ignore us as much. Yeah. Well, according to the CEDAW ruling on my case that I filed in 2018, it found that the government needed to do several things. One is that they need to decriminalize and repeal 365 and 365A immediately. And they need to compensate me for all the troubles that I have been through, based purely on the fact that, I'm a queer activist and a queer person. So it's been 3 years now since the CEDAW decision finding Sri Lanka in, remiss in their obligations towards the treaty bodies, as well as towards the people of this country, especially the LGBTIQ community. So government after government, well, soon after that decision came down, of course, we had that private members bill that came in to Parliament by MP Dolavatta. In my opinion, it was just, something dangling in front there so that they can be seen to be doing something about it, but they had absolutely no will to pass it through. And certainly once the government changed, that bill died wherever it was, yeah. But this government has promised that 365 and 365A will be repealed. And I urge this government, I'm not that much interested in compensation, but they should give me the compensation that has been, they have been told to give. I'm not that interested in that. What I am interested in is that the laws be repealed immediately. What are you waiting for? Yeah, you will always have an excuse as to put, certain communities on the back burner, their rights on the back burner. But you have been instructed by the UN, the government has been instructed by the UN, they have signed the optional protocol, they are in obligation of, putting these things in play because they have signed on to all the optional protocols and they have, they take the UN treaty bodies very seriously. So my call to the government is, what are you waiting for? You have 2/3 majority, just go ahead and do it, yeah? Well, we all know, and if we don't know, then we've been hiding under a stone. We all know that this particular group that you're talking about, the Mothers of Lanka, are politically affiliated, and that the fact that they are raising their ugly heads to shout about homosexuality and calling us pedophiles and sexual deviants is just something to flag so that they can push forward their political agendas and try to perhaps push this new government aside or try to bring in their sons, daughters, whoever it is that's running for office. I don't take them very seriously because, we've been here for a long time. Why are you waiting for Trump to come to say all these things? Why weren't you saying things before that? Yeah. The allegations they are making about homosexuality and people who are queer being, pedophiles and sexual deviants, well, I have refuted that in an article in Ground Views because it's simply not true. Yeah, their allegations are not true. It's not based on any kind of empirical data. No scientific value to their rantings. I can, there's so many mothers of Lanka, like my own mother, for example, who loved me. And even though she knew I was a lesbian, there's not one day that she didn't tell me, I love you, darling, and I'll be with you and stand up for you no matter what. Yeah, that's what mothers should do with their children, not rant and rave and try to, push aside their children because they're different. It's easy to do that, especially when you're hiding something. Perhaps we should, take a look at all the sexual abuse that happens in this country and point out to why exactly it is happening. Yeah. Don't just blame people without any kind of data to back you up. One of the things that we set to do when we formed Equal Ground was to make sure that we have allies on our side, because we knew that we could not push this, decriminalization process without the help of our parents, our friends, our families, our, everybody. So allies are extremely important on this road to decriminalization and past it. Yeah. Too many times I think there is always this us versus them kind of attitude that we have here in Sri Lanka. It has led to a war. And it has led to riots in the early days as well, where people were killed. It really is unnecessary because we all are, children of this soil. We are all Sri Lankans. I may look foreign. I'm a burgher. I was born here. My parents were born here. Their parents were born here, and so on and so forth. So don't turn around and say I don't belong here, because I do belong here. I was born here. So this is my country as much as it is everybody else's country. And the way I see it, it has been politics and religion that has really soured the dynamic of, this gentle country, this gentle population that, anywhere in the world you go, one of the things that you heard in the past was how gentle Sri Lankan people were. What has happened to that? What has happened to their value system? Yeah, it has been really turned on its head by avaricious politicians, and now it seems like evangelical Christians are behind this mothers movement as well. So we are importing stuff from, and importing some horrible stuff from America and wherever else to, push this attitude of or this hatred towards, people who are different, whether it's the color of their skin or whether it's their ethnicity or the language that they speak or who they love. There shouldn't be a, difference. We are all citizens of this country, and we need equal protection under the law. Well, the problem is, do our government listen to international instruments? I mean, we talked about CEDAW. It has been very clear that under the CEDAW committee ruling that 365 and 365A need to be repealed. But obviously they are not, in the least bit bothered about all that. So my question is, are we really playing with the international community, or are we just giving lip service when we go to the United Nations, when we are asked certain questions? It seems like, they don't bother too much about international, mechanisms or instruments, yeah, because we have used it. We have used the CEDAW optional protocol to bring the case against the government. It has been ruled that they are in error, so they need to do something about that. 3 years on, they have done absolutely nothing. So, and it's the same with all the other instruments that other people in this country have used for various issues, such as the mothers of the disappeared and, so on and so forth. So, it seems that Sri Lanka doesn't care that much about international standards. All they care about is I guess being in power and doing as they please. Yeah.